Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP, and I gotta start with this from Michael Branch. XRP set to anchor treasury strategy as hyperscale data evaluates long-term hold plan. They're all going to be holding XRP for periods of time. Now, hyperscale data plans to hold for a period of 36 months, which that XRP will be locked away. We see other companies doing this now as well. Some of them are going to start to work with Flare and earn yield while it sits in their treasury strategy. But as long as this XRP keeps getting locked away for periods of time, eventually XRP will be scarce. And when that happens, the price is going to rise even higher due to demand. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says, has everybody thought about why you get paid once a month, once every 2 weeks, and so on? Take a listen to this.
Here in Singapore, I believe you get paid once a month. In the United States, you get paid once every 2 weeks. Has anybody thought about why you get paid once a month or once every 2 weeks? It comes down to the friction of payments. And if we can remove the friction of payments, why can't you get paid every day? Or even more crazily, why don't you get paid every hour or every second? You could have a stream of value showing up in your whatever repository of value. Now, why you need to get paid every second, I'm not sure. But I do think there's a lot of dynamics that have been built around getting paid every 2 weeks or getting paid every month. And as we remove the friction of payments and make that dramatically easier, I think you're going to see secondary and tertiary effects that are very difficult to predict, just like we couldn't have predicted Grab 20 years ago.
And that's what Ripple wants to do. They want to remove the friction in payments. Now, I showed that clip in a few videos back, and people said nobody really wants to get paid every second. But I think there's a demand for that. Take a listen to what this guy says right here. It sounds very familiar to what Brad Garlinghouse just said.
Money should be like emails or texts. $1 billion a second, all free. And what we really need to do to fix the payment system is then we can have, consumer demand payments and consumer demand receipts. In other words, I shouldn't get paid every 2 weeks or every month. I should get paid every minute. And we can agree on the price, and every minute money goes into my account. My mortgage should not be a monthly payment. It should be every minute you take money out of my account for my mortgage. Netflix should not be a monthly subscription. It should be, I start watching a movie, and every minute you take a penny or two or whatever the price is going to be of a particular movie. That's the system we need. They had the capability to do that 30 years ago. Yep. And really what I think is strangling the digital economy is the payment system.
And he's not wrong. The payment system sucks. And he's right. Everything should be paid for in real time. And I remember making IOTA videos with machine-to-machine payments and Energy Web token videos. And they were thinking about how people would pay for energy in real time. I think everything is going to be real-time payments in the future. Not when you make a transaction, but everything. You want to read a news article, you pay for that article only instead of buying the entire newspaper. We are heading into that time, and there's a demand for it because everybody wants instant gratification. Forget the S&P 500. XRP offers bigger potential with just $500. So USA Today put out an article saying that the best place to park $500 is in XRP. They're saying in the stock market, you could figure that you would make $50 per year on that $500 investment. And then they show the upside potential for XRP. XRP has the greatest return on investment in all of crypto right now, with all the catalysts lined up for this cryptocurrency. But they're not wrong, and the mainstream media is now starting to see beyond Bitcoin as well. Everything is starting to shift away from it because a new financial system is coming. And as that system gets closer and closer, the narrative will shift as well. All of a sudden, they're going to be telling you to buy XRP when it's at $5 plus. Why weren't they talking about it when XRP was sitting at 50 cents or 30 cents or even 20 cents? They always tell you when the price is rising. Nobody ever talks about something when it's going sideways. And this is back as well. The most important question about XRP Ledger, no one is asking. Many people will get trapped. They're talking about the RFID chip. So he says, hey guys, how can I get a heads up on when the voting will begin on whether or not to force all validators to have Know Your Customer to process transactions? I don't want a digital ID or to be micro RFID chipped later. Everyone is screaming for XRP, not knowing that RLUSD's terms and conditions clearly state that they can withhold the right to freeze people's assets on government calls, which makes stablecoins a rebranded CBDC. I don't think they're wrong about the stablecoin being rebranded as a CBDC. Mr. Mann even points it out right here. This right here is a CBDC-backed stablecoin arrangement. What makes this arrangement a synthetic CBDC and CBDC-backed arrangement is the fact that the stablecoin is backed or collateralized by central bank digital currencies or reserves held at central banks. Ripple is going to gain access to the Fed's master account for use. Do you not think they'd want to own or have part ownership in the currency they will be using? RLUSD will be backed by central bank money. Count on it. And Smoke says, Ripple pursues Fed master account to allow RLUSD reserves to be held directly in the central banking system. So I know Trump pivoted away from a central bank digital currency, but say RLUSD becomes the digital dollar and it's backed by central bank money. Doesn't that make it a CBDC in essence? And they do have clawback features for RLUSD as well. I want to see how this evolves from here before I make any assumptions. But I'm curious to know what you're thinking. Put it in the comments section down below. Digital identity is evolving on the XRP ledger. DNA, AI, and blockchain are converging to redefine how we verify who we are. Not with documents, but with our biology. Take a listen to how he blames AI for you to be putting your DNA on the XRP ledger.
With the research that we've been doing into non-human identities, artificial intelligence, the proliferation of AI, which is still in its early stages, to the point where a lot of organizations are still sitting back and saying to themselves, well, let's see what our competition do with this. Let's see what the rest of the industry does with this and the wider world. And it suddenly dawned on me that there is a big difference between us as humans and a non-human identity. A non-human identity does not have DNA. We do. So
what he's going to do is separate you from an AI pretending to be you through your DNA. And the fact that this is coming to the XRP ledger, it really does not surprise me. I always said, when you're invested in XRP, you're invested with the elites. What do the elites want right now? They want the Great Reset agenda, and they want digital ID, central bank digital currency, and so on. Me, I'm not a fan of putting my DNA on the XRP ledger. I'm just not going to do it. Now, This is something that's been going on and going around the XRP community right now. They're trying to say that there's going to be a new version of the XRP ledger, and somehow you would end up losing your XRP. I want to tell you this right now. That is not going to happen. Decisions are being made today. If restarting the XRP ledger from scratch, Ripple CTO David Schwartz discusses using Rlusd is definitely talked about. Proposals from an outside company are currently being considered for a possible modular revamp of pieces. Take a listen.
You know, there's people who there's definitely talk about doing that, and there's also been talk about modularizing the transaction engine so that the transaction engine could execute in a VM, and then you could implement everything, because the transaction engine, having multiple implementations of the transaction engine would be very challenging. So you can imagine a situation where the transaction engine is sort of compartmentalized and runs in a VM. And then maybe like the code around it that does the overlay and the database and the client queries could then be written in any language. It could be modular. We would like to have the code be more modular. It's kind of annoying that you have a monolith that has the consensus engine, the transaction engine, and client queries like all monolithically. That would be great. The big challenge is the certain bits of the transaction engine, particularly the payment engine, are not well enough specified that you could have. So another possibility is like, let's specify how that payment engine actually works. And if we wind up with a situation where we can't specify it, let's fix it. So one example of where you might be unable to specify the payment engine is we use something like floating point, imprecise math, and some of the numbers. And the net result of that is if you do like A plus B minus C, you can get a different result from A minus C plus B. Because of the precision. And there may be cases where like we have to sum up a bunch of stuff and we just do it and subtract and add the things and we just do it in a random order, just the code does it in the order it happens to do it. And so if you try to specify it to produce the exact same result in another language, you need to execute those operations in exactly the same order. And if we picked an order that the code just happens to use that is illogical, it would be like you could actually specify, yeah, actually you have to do like Z minus Q plus T minus R plus, right? Like that would be annoying. We would probably want to respecify and have an amendment where at one time we switch over to a more organized, clear, coherent version of that code. And that would be a plus that would be a win all around. But even if we can't do that, we can isolate the pieces of code that have those annoying quirks, like the payment engine, and maybe modularize them into a VM or something so that you could at least have different implementations or other languages for pieces like the overlay. If you're interested in that, you should talk to, I think, Anshul Malhotra at Ripple. She is, we've actually got some proposals from some companies to do some of those pieces. And we're making decisions now about what we think is worth doing and what the order of doing things would be.
So what they're going to do is make some changes to the XRP ledger. And I'm seeing a lot of FUD around this. So public service announcement. If Ripple was rewritten in Rlusd, or there was a second client in Rlusd, it wouldn't do anything to the on-chain data. Nothing would happen to your XRP. Everything about using and building on the XRP ledger would stay the same. Just a change in what language the core protocol is written in. And I've seen so many people saying, if they are to do this, everybody's XRP is gone forever. And that is not the case. I just wanted to let you know about this because people are really panicking on this right now. ChatGPT is not a diary, therapist, lawyer, or friend. LinkedIn user warns against oversharing everything with AI. So the reason that they're stressing about this right now is that you are not getting like attorney-client privilege when using AI. And because you're not getting attorney-client privilege, you're not going to be sharing things with ChatGPT, because if they were asked for this data or what you're sharing, they would definitely share it with law enforcement and so on. And they just want to stress about this right now while we're still early with ChatGPT. So right now, if you talk to a therapist or lawyer or a doctor about those problems, there's legal privilege for it. There's confidentiality. We haven't figured that out yet for ChatGPT. Apparently, some people are sharing things they shouldn't share with the AI, and ChatGPT can land you in jail. I just thought it was something I should share with all of you. Me personally, I don't think ChatGPT should be your therapist to begin with, and or your doctor. But I'm sure people use ChatGPT for everything. There's people out there that do it. I'm sure of it. But you know, when we were talking about what David is talking about with doing upgrades to the XRP ledger, everybody right away, they're looking for the littlest thing that they could FUD about when it comes to XRP. So they take something so simple that has nothing to do with you losing your XRP at all, and they spin it now because they want you selling your XRP. They want to shake you out. And when you get shaken out, what do you think happens? The institutions are going to be buying up your XRP. The whales are going to be buying up your XRP. And you're going to miss out on buying back in. Because I think once the price of XRP changes very quick, it's going to price a lot of people out very fast. Most people are already priced out of XRP. Think about it. If you want to buy 1,000 XRP right now, it's going to cost you around $3,000. And soon it's going to cost you $6,000, then $9,000, and so on. Because the price is going to continue to rise. Buy whatever you could afford, sit back and stay patient, and just wait to get rich. That's what it comes down to. Don't stress when the market turns red. Don't fall for the FUD. Just stay patient. Enjoy being a crypto investor. Think more on the lines of how much money you're going to make in this cycle. Start putting a game plan together for passive income. And if you do make a lot of money in this run, absolutely do not let money change you. The only reason that I see for money is to buy time. Time is way more valuable than money. It's something you just don't get back. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.